What? Someone called Spider-Man 2 overrated? I watched every Spider-Man movie leading up to No Way Home. And I expected them to get progressively better with each jump into like a new actors. But it was actually the opposite. And I always go by when I have to check, when I start checking the clock is kind of when I judge by. And with the first Spider-Man movie, I checked the clock and it was at the climax. And then in the second one, I didn't check until I just realized, oh, this is the final battle. Credits are about to roll. The second one holds up the best to me. I expected Spider-Man 2 to not hold up at all, but I actually liked it more than any other. And then Spider-Man 3 was actually fantastic for a long time, all the way up until the point when Spider-Man takes on Sandman and then he gets washed away in the sewer. And then from there on, it went downhill. But the final battle is still really cool. Everything in between those moments is not good. And then we got to Amazing, which was a big shift in quality, but still good. The Lizard was a befitting villain, but I didn't think he was the best, mostly just because of his design. And the plot was kind of weird. I'm a lizard, so now I want everyone to be lizards. Thought that was kind of odd. I thought the movie overall was fine, and it had the best approach to Flash Thompson. That scene where Flash goes to Peter after Uncle Ben's death is probably the best scene to me in the whole movie. It's great. And it was a great setup for Flash, and they just never did anything with him. I really had hoped that they were gonna, had they done a Amazing Spider-Man 3, I would have wanted it to be Mysterio as the main villain, Shocker as like a secondary, Flash Thompson's back, so that Flash can kind of try to connect with Peter, who is going off the rails following the death of his uncle and then his girlfriend. But then he's also kind of there trying to reach Spider-Man, who he's a big fan of, who is not pulling his punches and beating up guys like Shocker. And that's the whole point of Mysterio, is that he would find out who Spider-Man really is, and he would taunt him with his failures and those that he's caused the death of. So then you'd have Peter eventually having to like make peace with himself and refocus himself to get his spider sense back on track so he could beat Mysterio. But that's all beside the point. So anyway, Amazing Spider-Man 2, completely terrible. I mean, he only really fights Mysterio. It's not like a 3-villain movie. Sure, Green Goblin shows up, but you can't really count Rhino. He's just a bookend. Not really a villain in the movie. It's just not good. It's really boring. I checked the clock so many times in that movie. But then I had the most jarring shift, which was going into Homecoming. And when you've been watching Spider-Man movies and now suddenly you're watching a Spider-Man movie that wants to beat it into you, he's in the MCU now, that's actually pretty rough. And I was not a fan. I mean, it's got cool scenes. Vulture's great. Vulture's a good villain. It's cool seeing Shocker in something. 2 versions of him at that. The scene in the car where he figures out who Peter is, that's great. Just overall, not a big fan of the movie. It's weird because I still like it, but just in this saga, it didn't hold up. I would probably put it as like number 3 or number 4. Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, and then maybe Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Amazing Spider-Man right after that. I haven't figured out where No Way Home fits yet, but it's in the top 5 for sure. Probably, I would say it probably is in the top 3, because I could find it more watchable than Homecoming or Amazing Spider-Man. So it would probably be Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home, and then probably Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Amazing Spider-Man. And then it would be Amazing Spider-Man 2, and at the very bottom of the list, oh no, it would be Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then at the very bottom of the list would be Spider-Man Far From Home. I like nothing about that movie except for, I think it's the Paris scene, where Hydro Man shows up. And it's not even Hydro Man, but that's why I like it, because I can say closest I'm going to get to seeing Hydro Man in the MCU, most likely. You know, I'm just happy with the little things. But watching each of them, yeah, it felt progressively worse. Like the quality kept dropping with each one. And I didn't expect that going into Homecoming. But no, I don't think Spider-Man 2 is overrated. I think it's one of the best ones. Which was surprising. I didn't think that the original trilogy was going to hold up as well as it did.